What is up, NPA fans? It is I, the Juan, joined once again by the amazing Chi.
Hey up, guys, what's going on?
And we are here for week four
Yes.
of the NPA. Good times are good. We missed you guys last week, and I missed you guys the week before.
Yes, you did, yes.
Because you were a solo episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. It still somehow ended up being like an hour and 20. I don't know how that happened, but...
I mean, when there are things to talk about, there are things to talk about.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
But there are a couple of things that should make this one a little bit shorter. First off is the fact there are 4 buys.
4 bye weeks. Thank the Lord. A little bit easier on our plates, to be honest with you, but who's counting?
Yes. So yeah, Hampshire Haunters. I don't know why I said that. I said that the American way. Hampshire Haunters, Duke City Blue Blaze, New York Clinks, and Miami Dolphins all didn't play this week. They all get to take the week off.
Wait a minute. The Clinks didn't play this week?
Yes, I believe.
Oh man, I put them as my best game of the week for this. Oh well, okay. Sorry, Star C.
Well, that's what's written on the sheet. I didn't remember them playing, so.
Oops. Okay, there goes my winnings. So, moving on.
Well, depends how bad the other matches were, I guess. But no, they were all good matches, just to be clear. Pretty much. But yeah, so those 4 teams didn't play. Just in case you are unaware, basically every single team gets 1 week where they don't play a game. It's not a bye week as such, because a bye week in an official tournament is an automatic win. It's just they don't play. So, basically. A lot of people had their bye week last week because of PAX East, but then there was just enough people to make the executive decision that any match that was going to be played during the previous week 4 is now going to be the now week 13 or something like that. So
everything got moved back basically.
So now
week 4 got moved to week 12 and everything got bumped up. That's all you got to know, guys.
These are the week 5. Right? The original week 5 schedules are now week 4, and this is what we're doing.
But yeah, enough of those logistic talks. Let's get to what we're here for, man.
One other thing, we do have to say welcome to the 2 new coaches.
Oh yeah, my boys, Bub and Willow.
Yes, they both did play, so we will obviously address them when they get to their matches. But just general welcome in case we forget to say it later on, which we hope we won't.
Yes. I get to say things about them. Oh boy.
Also, it's very nice to see another British team name at the very least. Or 2, British, I should say. They're both
British people. Okay, so who do we have up first, Chi?
We have the Waterloo Sourcebooks and Old School Sin versus Iowa Horluchers and Brady's standing coach. I think his name was LeCub. I'm not 100% certain on that.
Okay. Okay. Disclaimer on that one. I did not realize there was a sub coach in for that week, so I did not actually look for that battle. So I was gonna say, I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about this battle. So you got to play this for me.
Oh well. As the people who may have not watched this match can see on the slide, there is a Keldeo sat there with 6 kills and no deaths.
Oh.
So you can see what happened, pretty much, right there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, basically my advice to Sin here is, if you don't have a front office, I would really suggest getting a front office right now. Because as soon as I saw the matchup, I knew what was about to happen. I didn't even know how this match ended up, because I don't think it was actually filled in on the sheet at the time, so I didn't actually know how it ended up. I knew Brady. I knew the Hull Orchards had won because of the pick'em outcome, but I didn't know how he won because it wasn't filled out on the sheet at the time. And as soon as I saw the team list, it was Chandelier, Tappabulu, Magnazone, Blissey, Hydreigon, and Claydol on the Sourcebook side, and all I needed to see on the Horlucha side was Keldeo, because Keldeo is super effective against 5 of those mons.
Which is the 6th one again out of those 5?
Chandelier, Magnazone, Blissey, Hydreigon, and Claydol are all weak to Keldeo, and they're all slower than Keldeo without a scarf. And Tapu Bulu being the only thing that resists, I could see what was about to happen, frankly, before it even started.
Just Icy Wind or HP Ice and...
No, it was Subcar Mind with Dual Stab. Basically, as soon as Tapu Bulu was picked off by Keldeo, it got weakened to the point where Keldeo could pick it off. Keldeo subbed on the Blissey, set up a couple of Car Mines, which it couldn't deal with. I've got a couple of points to do with that Blissey later on, but we'll get to that. And then proceeded to kill everything.
For me, that is not seeing the slides at the moment. What was the score at the end?
5-0. Golug was the only thing to go down to a Chandelure, revenging it. Chandelure picked that up at some point. Can't remember when or how. To be honest, but I have a few points. One, I have no idea why Magnezone was Air Balloon. It's not like Magnezone carries anything to attack Golug with particularly well. So, no idea why that was Air Balloon. And more to the point, if you did put Air Balloon on it for a reason, why was it kept being switched into things? Because as soon as you switch it into something and take an attack, it loses the Air Balloon. For some reason, it managed to get away with it until about halfway through the match. It didn't get attacked, despite being switched in, like, consistently on Nihilego, I think it was. When you have a Claydol sit in the back, which basically resists Nihilego's stabs perfectly well, and Magnezone did not need to lose its Air Balloon. Not that it mattered at any point during the match, the fact it even had an Air Balloon, but whatever.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, Thundurus. He was fearing the HP Ice from Thundurus on Tapu Bulu. Thundurus gets Sludge Wave. That's a fairly common move. This is what I'm saying.
Yes, it is.
Sin, if you don't have a front office, please get one. Please get one, because this is the kind of thing they would pick up on. Especially the fact they would definitely also pick up on the fact you brought 5 Mons weak to Keldeo against a team with a Keldeo. So, and there's things on your roster, things like Milotic could have phased it out or hazed it off, maybe. You got that in your team, that would have been a fantastic bring to counter that Keldeo. And basically the entire rain aspect of his team, which he could have brought, which he didn't. And various, I think a couple of other things would have done fairly well as well, that you didn't bring. What else? Oh yeah, he can't do anything to kill me here when Tapu Bulu was on 25% versus the Keldeo. Keldeo can get Icy Wind, as Juan mentioned earlier. That would have killed it from that range. Or it could have carried the HP Poison knowing that was the only thing stopping it from sweeping. So, risky. As it happened, it was Subcar Mind with Dual Stab, therefore it did resist both moves, thankfully. But basically about 3 or 4 turns later, Tapu Bulu was even weaker and then died to the Keldeo, and then that happened.
Ouch! I just want to just say ouch.
Yeah.
I know the feeling about just losing to sub and setup. That still pains me to this day. But yeah, it happens.
Speaking of the Sub Trevenant, a sort of my Sub Trevenant against you there. Not quite the same situation, but the Sub Mon was facing a Mon with counter. The Blissey did have the counter. The Blissey did try to go for the counter as it set up, but there is a crucial point here. Secret Sword may use the opponent's defense, but it is still a special move. Counter does not work against Keldeo's Secret Sword, so that would not have worked even if it had attack there.
Okay.
So
I don't want to say the game of who is worse, but we have moments. It's okay.
Yeah.
Sin, you know you can recover from this. That's no issue whatsoever with that, because this is just one of those weeks. Don't worry about it, buddy.
Yeah, Blissey was choppled, so I saw what you were doing there. It just wouldn't have worked even if he had attacked you. Sadly. And anything else? Claydol is slower. It will kill you with Scald. That should not have been your first switch into the Keldeo. Don't know why that was. Shandy is your only thing faster because it was Scarf. It does have 2 Calm Minds up, but the Energy Ball would have been enough to break it, as you saw later on. That would have broken the sub at the very least. And then you could have potentially brought in Hydreigon. I'm not sure if that was Scarfed as well. I can't quite remember. I think it was because you managed to get Draco Meteor off before Keldio's attack, so it must have been scarfed as well. Therefore, if you'd broken the sub with Chandeler's Energy Ball, then Hydreigon could have probably killed it with the Draco Meteor. But
are you sure about that? Even though because he had Calm Mind at that point.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it would have required the. Yeah, that was the other thing. Tapu Bulu was your only physical attacker this week. But good point. It said that was huge. The Draco actually missed the first time round. The quote there was that was huge. It wasn't, because if you noticed on the turn you missed, the Keldeo did actually just press sub again. So even though you missed, if it would have hit, it would have broken the sub, and then it would just subbed again. So it didn't matter that you missed that one. It didn't matter that you missed the third one either. The next third one either, because he just subbed up again. He basically kept subbing on you because he was toxic stalling you at that point. As well. Man. So
that's actually rough.
The Draco misses were annoying, but it didn't matter that you missed them because you were dying to toxic, and then Keldeo outsped everything else anyway. So sadly, and that is it. The only other thing is maybe a bit of naivety that sub Carmine Keldeo is a thing. Seemed to be the reaction seemed to be that you weren't expecting it. Sub Carmine Keldeo is pretty much one of the standards of the game, sadly. But that's about it. Also, minor pet peeve is Hydreigon, but that's just me being a grammar Nazi, I guess. Pronunciation Nazi? I'm not sure.
Wait. I'm guessing he was saying Hydreigon?
Hydreigon. I think it was Hydreigon. But yes, Hydreigon is
because
German.
Of German. Yep.
But it's better than Hydreigon, but I guess. Because at least you're attempting to pronounce the words in front of you. But that's just a minor point. But that's basically it. We saw what happened. Keldeo just destroyed everything, sadly. It wasn't particularly fun to watch at that point, but so yeah, I'm not sure.
I think we've said our fair share.
I think that's it. I can't really say much else. I think the only suggestions I have is obviously maybe try and get a bit of front office, or at the very least send your teams to someone just so they can double check them for you. Make sure you do know your speed tiers. Not there was any problem with your speed tiers here, but again, you weren't 100% sure if certain things outsped certain things, and maybe just switch up your predictability a little bit, because you were switching in the same thing on certain ones every single time, which did allow Brady's stand-in to do the doubles every single time and get the advantage. That's the only thing I would suggest. Maybe switching things up a little bit in your play. Maybe just stay in every now and then, catch them off guard. I don't know. Might have helped a little bit, taking a few things down a little bit more. But as soon as that Keldeo got in against that Blissey, it was over. So live and learn, I guess.
Live and learn. That's what we do.
Now we get to move on.
Yes, I do agree with that. Next up, I believe we have the New Orleans Pelipers versus the United Kinglers, coached by one of our new coaches.
Professor Willow. Yes, I believe Willow took over. Was it SDC? It was that UVUM's team.
Possibly, do not recall.
So he has the very low remnants of the San Diego Charizard's team, because they were allowed to make many changes. I think one of the only surviving things. I think the only two surviving mons he did bring in Mega Gyarados and Latios. I think pretty much everything else was changed.
No, Rotom C was also a part of that team, I believe.
Oh, he brought all three of them. He brought all three of them then. Yeah.
This was a good game, I'd say.
It was a good game. First turn, perhaps a little bit of naivety on Willow's side, in my opinion. It was a lead Victini versus, I can't remember what it led against, but
he led off with, I believe, the Rotom.
Yeah.
That first turn. So
I've literally just noticed this on the team. Rotom Cup, Mega Gyarados, Gothitelle, Latios. All of them are weak to U-turn. Victini as a lead is usually clicking at U-turn anyway. Switching in Latios was a little bit naive, maybe, because that did massive damage to that Latios and practically crippled it. straight from
just
the off.
my only thing that he possibly could have went into Torkoal to better scout if he wanted to do that, or even at that point Gyarados itself, because of the Intimidate and also its flying type. Yeah,
it wouldn't be dark type. Yeah, and both of them would have sponged the potential fire move better. John maybe forgot that. I think John didn't either realise or just forgot that Diggersby does get access to Fire Punch, because he switched Escavalier into Decidueye on the Diggersby, predicting ground or ground. I don't know exactly what he was predicting actually to happen there, because Escavalier kind of matches up fairly well anyway. Perhaps he just didn't have enough to attack the Diggersby on his Escavalier.
Possibly.
But maybe just predicting literally anything else to switch in. Normal would have been the play, and Decidueye would have taken that being Ghost type. But Diggersby does have Fire Punch, and that's what it went for, and did quite a lot of damage to that Decidueye as a result.
It basically 2 KO'd at that point, right? I think it was allowed to get off the second Fire Punch.
Diggersby did not claim the kill. I know that much.
No, he did not claim the kill, but it did enough damage where it was basically the neck. It was a 2 KO. Okay.
John, I would just say, just because, Gothitelle Shadow Tag is pretty much synonymous with Gothitelle. Forgetting that Gothitelle does get competitive.
Yes.
Not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not. It's very inventive. Very good for counter. For what he did, for what he used it for, was to either absorb the defog or get into there was no intimidating for this match, but definitely is a possibility. For that, I feel like Willow did very well with that for predicting that defog, and it claimed lives. It killed 2 Mons.
I think it only got 1 in the end, but I think it only got that as Escavalier. Yeah, it did. But it's still got the Escavalier, which is fairly bulky. Was Willow trying... This is a question I have for you, actually, Juan. Was Willow trying to bluff the Scarf Latios when he brought that in against the Noivern?
No, he was predicting a switch out and going for the recover.
Because there was absolutely no reason for Noivern not to click Draco Meteor to get there again.
Yeah, because he was hoping that since he was a -2 and the fact that it was a Latios that would have he was trying. At 2 points he was trying to bluff. The quick attack on Diggersby, he was trying to bluff that to see if he could scare it out because the Noivern was so low. But John wasn't having any of that, as we can tell. But yeah, I think he was trying to bluff the Scarf because he brought it in so offensively.
Yeah, because there's really no other reason to bring in something like Rito Draco. Even at -2, it still wasn't. It was still the range where that killed.
He was definitely. But what I know for a fact that he was definitely trying to get the recover off. That is for sure. So he was trying to bluff something. I know that.
Yeah, because even John was confused. In his commentaries, I don't know why he switched that in first. I can assume he was bluffing the Scarf. Now, then basically that led to the end game, which was just trying to get Raikou in against something that would have allowed him to get the Calm Mind up. He managed it, and that's what won him the game. So we had a little bit of chip either way. Mega Gyarados claimed the Decidueye in the end. I think Rotom Cut claimed the Noivern after those Draco Meteors, and then I think he set up on Torque. No, I think he set up on the Rotom. I'm not certain.
No, he did set up on the Rotom. Yeah, because
then Raikou could come in. He set up on the Rotom, and then Torkoal did its best with the crit, which was kind of scary watching from John's side of things, because John's just like commenting, the only way he can win here if he gets a crit. Oh, that's a crit. It didn't matter. It only mattered if he was full special attack and crit. Thankfully, he wasn't full special attack.
No, but I did enjoy seeing the Solar Beam go off on Torkoal to the top of Vinny and doing almost 30%.
So yeah, that was that was amusing. Raikou managed to get the setup on the cut. 2 Calm Mind sweeps in a row, actually. Well, more of a mini sweep on Raikou's part, but 2 Calm Mind sweeps in a row on these games. So that's kind of interesting.
My only comment for Willow, I'm not sure what were the big changes for his team. Like, I don't have them in front of me, but looking at this iteration of the team, I did notice that The only thing that broke base 100 was Latios, and after that, he had everything was below, I believe, 90, because I think Gothitelle is only capping at a base 90 something speed.
No, he hasn't got a lot. There's a chat up. I'm not sure what that speed is.
I'll be looking it up. Yeah, Gothitelle is base 65 speed.
I'm fairly certain Chatot is sub 100 as well.
Gyarados, I'm pretty sure the Mega is only base 81. Rotom is 86, and Diggersby is notably slow.
Yeah, in fact, the other things he brought in, things like Alomomola didn't bring, Tangela didn't bring, Doublade didn't bring. They're all very slow as well. So that's my only issue, that he may have to start either relying on Priority or Scarfers for the weeks coming on. So I believe Gothitelle does get Trick Room. I'm not sure.
That was my next point. I was gonna bring up that I think he may also then rely on the Trick Room strategy. So this is a fairly new team. This is his first week, so we must give it to him for at least showing up and making sure that things are done for this first week as a coach in the NPA.
Oh yeah.
But definitely I'm expecting a lot of things from him. I know for a fact that he does know his battling prowess, and I can assure you that we are going to see some great things out of him.
Yeah, and facing John from the off, especially John coming off that big win against the Landorus last time out as well, because Landorus were the league leaders after week 2. John took him down, so John's full of confidence right now. John feels like he's back in the game. So facing John at this point, straight away, was not the best matchup he could have had straight away.
But it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. First week. It's all good.
Yeah, it's fine.
We are going on right now to the Colorado Rapidash versus the Adelaide Umbreons. And I am going to say off the bat, always check your mons. Always check your mons.
Yes, I wrote that on mine as well.
Crystal Key. We remind them to all the other coaches to check your mons.
It wouldn't be a recap without just saying that at some point.
No, but when I saw that only a +1 Tyranitar take out a Celesteela with Thunder Punch, I said, "Oh my God, what is the investment?" And second thought, "Oh no, did she mess up?"
Yeah, I wrote, "Oh, that's a misgen Celesteela."
Oh my God, because like she showed in the calc that she was relying on when in the analyst check, there was no way in the world that Tyranitar would OHKO a Celesteela. If you do not know Celesteela's base stats, please look them up, because again, there is no way in the world that a +1 Tyranitar should kill a Celesteela from full.
No. So, oh dear. I only really have one major point for the Rapidash, and not even really that major. I think it was the lead, or very early on, with Rotom Heat. I think it might have been even turn 1, thinking about it. Kind of just stated that there's no switching to Discharge. He looked at the Umbreon's team and sort of went Celesteela, Azumarill, Hooper, Gengar. There's 2 of them are weak, and then the rest are neutral. Cradily resists. That's about it. That's literally the only thing. Cradily resists Discharge. Other than that, everything was fine, really. There was a Thunder Punch crit later on, didn't matter. There was a Rock Slide crit later on, also didn't matter. But it was a little bit salt rubbery at that point.
Yeah, it was. I really don't have any comments, because looking at Cressa's side, she did play well.
Yeah.
For everything that was going against her. But also, again, I will just mention, if you didn't watch Cressa's side, she did also have a misgen on the Cradily with the moveset. So, again,
really?
Yeah, it was supposed to have, I believe, Leech Seed or Stealth Rock.
Right.
So
that would have stopped the Volcarona. Yeah.
That would have brought Volcarona down to 50%. She could have had it could have been a 2-0, honestly.
Yeah.
If she had rocks, but it's okay. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Sorry, there was one more thing. Colorado Rapidash. At the end, it was extra. I think it was extra drill, and what was left was, I want to say it was Hooper and the Salazzle. It was just those 2 left. he clicks Rock Slide. That's what crit. It didn't matter either, but that crit didn't matter. It was still like 120% minimum. But there was absolutely no reason not to click Earthquake there. I think
to risk the miss, right? Not risk the miss, yeah.
I think he was under the impression that Hooper might have Levitate there. It might just have been a bit of a brain fart, like associating with things like Mesprit and Yuxi, which obviously do have Levitate. But Hooper has Magician as his ability. It's not Levitate. There was absolutely no reason not to click. And even if it was Levitate, I'm not sure. I think it was Sand Rush, so that's why it might have thrown him off. So yeah, there's no reason not to click Earthquake there. That would have done like 400% to the Salazzle, and then it would have done more to the Hooper. But Hooper outspin anyway, so it didn't really matter. But it would have done more to the Hooper should she have switched it in.
Yeah.
Because there was no need to risk that Rock Slide miss, more to the point anyway. So yeah, that's basically it. Got away with it. The Rock Slide hit and it crit like it mattered.
Yeah, this is a very straightforward game in my regards.
Really straightforward, really fairly short actually, fairly short match as well.
Yeah, it was. I know on my side it was like 25 minutes for live comms. So
yeah, I don't think we even saw the Wheezing at any point, and I think we only saw the Mew once as well. So yeah, it's fairly quick, fairly high casualty rate, very rapidly as well. Very offensive start. Not really much to say for that one. Tyranitar got a couple of kills, Excadrill got 3, Volcarona took the last one. But yeah, we can move on, I believe.
Yes, and now I'm going to hand it over to you again for the Chi Show, for the fact that I do not know what happened on this time, because unfortunately I didn't have some family emergency. Was not able to catch up on some of these matches. So take it away, Chi.
Oh yeah, that's one point. This is why it's late as well, because of the family emergency. Sorry, apologies for that. Can't be helped. Sorry. So Leicester City T-Train 2-0 against the Tampa Ray Luxrays. Remembering to do the scores here. Basically, Gyarados in the early stages. I noticed there was nothing like on the team actually. The Tampa Bay Luxrays had a Gastrodon and a Ferrothorn. Leicester City did not bring a Grass type or a Fire type, which I thought was immediately quite ballsy. Nor did they bring a Fighting type, which basically there was nothing immediately super effective against that Ferrothorn, which I thought was a little bit odd. And nothing immediately super effective against that Gastrodon. Now I imagine there is Grass coverage amongst those somewhere. Even if it was just HP Grass or HP Fire. I know Gyarados does get the infamous Fire Blast. But
also Donphan gets Seed Bomb.
Donphan gets Seed Bomb, yes, of course. I knew there was Grass coverage somewhere weird. But it did not matter because, and this was brilliant to watch, Gyarados dispatched of Gastrodon with Supersonic Sky Strike. And I was like, okay, that got rid of one of the big problems straight away.
Excuse me while I praise T-Train in the DMs for that. Oh my.
Yeah, so it's like, at the very least didn't bring Grass Stab, no Fire Staff or Fellow Ballsy. Doesn't matter, Gyarados claims it with Sky Strike. And then he claimed Ferrothorn with the combination of Bounce, I think, and then Earthquake, which he kind of... Now this was a here's another check your moms. It worked out for him here in the end, but he did not mean to have Earthquake. I think he meant to have Sub is what he said. He meant to have Sub and then Setup. Because he did have the Dragon Dance still, but he had 3 attacking moves. He obviously had the 3 attacking moves.
I mean, I can see on the point of that it definitely worked out, because looking at the Tampa Bay Luxrays team, it was super offensive. I do not know. I think the minimum would be either the Gastrodon or the Ferrothorn that you would even try to set up a sub with. But like you said, it would definitely work. I can see it working in his favor that he did not have sub whatsoever, because that team is offensive as hell.
Yeah, it worked out in the end because he managed to use the non... He used Bounce by accident, which then obviously got the Rocky Helmet damage on Ferrothorn and the Iron Barbs damage. And then he used the Earthquake, which prevented any more damage to Gyarados. But if he just done Earthquake twice, it would have kept Gyarados a better health which then meant it wouldn't have been picked off. It did then get picked off, sadly. Also, one thing I've noticed, obviously even with the Adelaide Umbreons, and I can't remember which order I washed these in the end. But at this point, there was a lot of teams that did not have ground immunities or ground resists even, and this was another one. Araquanid resists, but that was it. So there weren't a lot of switches to ground moves.
I mean, to be fair, just going back, you saying to the Umbreons, she did have a Celesteela.
Yeah, the Umbreons had Celesteela. But if that... No, I mean, that wasn't the one I was thinking of, because I didn't watch these in the order. The list.
Okay.
But I think this was like the second or third match, and it just happened to be like 2 or 3 in a row that didn't have any ground immunities. This does have a ground resist at the very least.
Yeah.
But that would have been weak to the bounce. So...
That is true.
Donphan obviously had a little bit more fun when Arachne went down as well. But Absol... Oh, guessing Absol didn't have knockoff because there was a used Sucker Punch against something. Or a more powerful Dark Stab than Sucker Punch. Because it doesn't matter if Espeon is Scarfed. It got to a point where Espeon was... It was Espeon versus Mega Absol. It doesn't matter if Espeon is Scarfed. You lose. It would have lost even with the Sucker Punch because it could have set up or Baton Blast or whatever, or did whatever. And could have switched out. If you click Knockoff there, it would have killed the Espeon anyway. So I don't know why he went for Sucker Punch at that point. I'm trying to remember this match. It's one of earlier on ones.
Okay.
Not much to say here. Fairly quick battle again. It was fairly quick again, but what I would call an efficient win by T-Train.
All right.
Didn't really... It was just kind of keeping ahead at all points, basically. Just trying to keep the Luxrays in check at all points, not really allowing it back into the match. Adrenagon got burned very early on, I seem to remember, or something like that, which basically made it entirely useless. Magina, I don't believe suffered any hacks for like the first week ever.
Oh, that is great to hear.
Porygon, yeah, and then it basically got to the point where it was near the end, and it could have been a 1-0 or 2-0. Preserved the 2-0, and it was completely the right thing to do. Preserve the 2-0. There was no risk in switching into Porygon in the end to clean up and preserve the 2-0. Yeah. If you don't need to, don't. If there's no risk, preserve the differential where you can. Like we said in these early weeks, don't risk the win for preserving differential, but in this case it was perfectly deserved. There was no reason not to. So yeah, that was basically it. Ended up a 2-0, fairly efficient win. Not really much to say. Basically everything on the Luster City's side got a kill at some point, so it was very much a team game there. Like Donphan got a kill, Magina got a kill, Espeon got a kill, Porygon 2 got a kill, and Gyarados got 2. Dredagon being burned didn't do anything, sadly, but that was about it. So yeah, very much a team game. Pretty much every single mod picking something off at some point. So yeah, very efficient win, like I said, really.
All right, that's honestly great to hear. Yeah. We are now going to move on to the Philadelphia Braviaries versus the Rochester Rhydons.
Yes, one of the games of the week, in my opinion.
Honestly, that was an amazing game.
Can I start this off? Can I start this off with my first line of notes on this? Because this is my favourite line of any of my notes on this entire document.
Yes.
It was a 1-0 win for the Rhydons, by the way. First turn, Thunderous Therian versus Rhyperior. I'm watching from the Thunderous Therian side, so he's thinking, oh, I'm just clicking Grass Knot here. That's fine. I was just thinking, and as soon as I saw the Rhyperior stay in, I started typing this like, does Pom not know this gets Grass Knot? Oh, yes, he does! It's Sash Avalanche!
That was a glorious, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. After seeing that first play, I had to pause the video, and I wanted to make sure that the Avalanche strategy was worth it. Because if he was going to lead off with Thunderous Theory, I was thinking, okay, I know Rhyperior gets Ice Punch. I know it gets Ice Beam. What if he didn't have to like be this literally balls of a man to do this and just gone safe with an accurate move like that? But no. He had to run Avalanche. And was it glorious? Yes, it was.
I literally just stopped halfway through my nose and went, oh yes, he does. He knows what he's doing.
His commentary for that first turn was, this is my ideal lead. If he switches out, if he stays in, no matter what happens, I get a kill.
Oh.
That was his words exactly, and oh my god, did he follow through.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And then they followed up with Spiritomb. We're not really sure what happened there with the Spiritomb just trading blows with Azelf and then ended up losing. Not sure how.
He was what was happening there was because he was trying to play around the pursuit versus sucker punch.
Yeah, and he lost that, sadly.
Coverage move, man. Bane of my existence.
To be honest, not really much to say about that. You just lost the exchange with Azelf against the Dark type. Dark type versus Azelf surprisingly lost. Basically,
I completely forgot what exactly happened here, but I wrote down crit energy ball.
Yep, that's I wrote down the ones here just to remind myself. Primarina versus Blastoise. Primarina one-shot Mega Blastoise with the crit energy ball. That's what happened. That was not helpful. And then that was followed up with Galvantula missing a Thunder. I know your pain, by the way. I know your pain, Pum. I missed 2 Thunders in 2 weeks at the end of the last PPL season. And both of them mattered in the course of the match.
It's okay, Chi. It's okay. It's okay.
It's a new season soon. It's a new season soon. We can live and move on. But then Galvantula was redeemed.
Oh my god, Sucker Punch. Oh my god.
Sucker Punch Galv. Oh my god.
Pum brought the strats. Pum definitely brought. He knew what his plan was for this week. But I want to do shout out to Chris. Flame Charge Magmortar. God bless you, man. God bless you for trying to do Magmortar things. God bless you.
The rest of my notes are all in capitals because I was so hyped up by this point of the match. After the Sucker Punch, basically. I've just got Babiri Florges, crit Earth Power, it's all over!
Oh my god, yeah, that focus miss. Even though it did not matter, I think. Right? That focus blast?
If the Focus Blast hit, he won. But, bear in mind he required 2 Focus Blast hits in the first place. The chance of 2 Focus Blasts hitting in a row is actually only 49%. So therefore it was technically in Pum's side there at the end because he did require to hit 2 Focus Blasts. Now that's not factoring in one of them, like hitting one with a crit. Which I think may just slightly edge it over 50% chance. But either way, there's around 50-50 chance of either of them winning there at the end. Because he did require to hit 2 Focus Blasts or hit 1 with a crit. In the end, he missed and the other side crit with the Earth Power. So then it was, they think it's all over. It is now, essentially. So it was a little bit 50-50 there. So it could have gone either way. It went the Rhydon's way. And I think, in fairness, after the considering the Primarina crit and the Thunder miss, it was kind of justified that he got the hacks back at the end there, maybe.
I just also did want to say that I did put a note here of +2 Florges. Jim is happy right now.
Oh yes.
Jim is a very... Shout out to Potato Jim. He is a very, very avid fan of bringing offensive Florges, and boy, would he have been proud.
I've just remembered, I swear to God, there was something on here that I was going to shout out Potato Jim for as well. But for the life of me, can't remember where it is. It wasn't that. But never mind. I might remember it at some point. We'll move. That was another very quick match. It was another very quick match. A lot of very quick offensive matches this week. I
actually do agree with that. Yeah, there was a lot of offensive pressure. And speaking of offensive pressure, we're going to move into the Chicago Cup Chews versus the Seattle Staraptors.
Segway out of 10, my friend. Segway out of 10.
Yes, thank you. I try my best.
Yeah, this was actually the second biggest win of the week, but it didn't really feel like it until it was all over, really.
No, it was a very, very, it was trying... I don't know how to describe it. It was...
unfortunate to a degree. Also, one thing is worth noting is that Gear was supremely ill, so props to him for doing this. Maybe he should have used his stand-in this week, I don't know, but... yeah, Gear was very much on the train to illness this week. So, yeah, he wasn't 100% in this match. So any mistakes Gear made, we can put down to illness.
Yeah, I would say that I'm going to, let me see. I am going to just go on a highlight to mid-battle. but oh my gosh, that crit drain punch.
Yeah, I have one question. Was COLvADE soundproof?
I cannot say.
Can't say, because if not, that is 100% the always switch into xCloud.
That is
not the Bronzong.
Yeah.
I know Bronzong can obviously take the Boom Burst, but xCloud, as we saw, does get access to fire moves. And I believe it also gets access to ground moves, so either way. Either Bronzong, it can take it on.
Let me actually double check that.
Whereas COLvADE resists the fire moves, immune to Boom Burst at the very least. I'm very surprised. Actually, a little bit surprised he went with the Boom Burst, knowing that he could be soundproofed by COLvADE. But yeah. So other than that,
yes.
Mamo being stuck in the back was a little bit of I noticed Mamo stayed out of the fight for a very long while, and my mind's just going scarf, 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 scarf. Could be Babiri Berry, but scarf, scarf. Not sure. I don't really know how that ended up in the end. I think it got bullet punched, and it wasn't. Babiri.
Yeah, I believe that's what happened. That it was able to take out the Pangoro, and it was definitely Babiri Berry, because I remember seeing in the jump cut that the Babiri Berry was eaten before the bullet punch happened.
Oh yeah.
So,
it didn't actually get killed by Metagross. If it did, then these notes are wrong, and then my slides are wrong. But according to the sheet, Pangoro got 3 kills, xCloud got 1, and Tentacle got 2. I don't remember Tentacle getting 2, but they got 2 at some point.
Tentacle was late game, my man.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
Tentacle was cleaned up at the end.
Yeah.
My only going to the end though, my only question to Gearheart, which I understand now that he's sick, is why did he Z poison?
Yeah, I think that's what my last line is. I have no clue what Gear is doing here at the end, but we'll put that down to illness.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely pull it on in illness. And
the only other thing is, I said Sylveon was probably a better sack at the point that he sacked Bronzong, because Bronzong can still do things against Metagross, potentially. I also put a note here: Pangoro / xCloud / Megagross. What is a switch in?
Literally, when that, just anything that has a stab and does the ow just equals to just Y.
Yeah, there was immense in that game. I don't remember it ever going in, but there was immense in that game, which is also, what's a switch in, apart from Sylveon. But so yeah, bringing all of the very, very, I don't know what I'm going to deal with this Mons this week for Elliot.
Looking at Elliot's team, he was very offensive, barring the Tentacruel and the Clefable, which I'm pretty sure Clefable was also a variation of an offensive set.
I think it was Magikarp Life Orb, I can't remember.
But yeah, and I'm seeing that there. Oh no, Pangoro did kill itself with Life Orb. That's what.
Yeah, I know one of them killed itself with Life Orb, because there's only one kill for the Raptors, sadly. But I think that means Selgor picked off the xCloud at some point later on, and then Tentacle cleaned up the last 2. I think that's how that works.
I also didn't see a point for Type Null in this game. I wasn't sure what the Type Null pick to bring.
Yeah,
especially
when there's a Pangoro potentially roaming around. I'll just have a quick look. I didn't actually make a note of this, but I'll have a quick look to see if I can find the Raptors team page. I feel like we can't find it. Why is it when you're always looking for something you can't find it? There it is.
It's a curse that we all must bear.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of things you could have brought, Alola Marowak kind of deals. Apart from Earthquake on Mega Metagross, Alola Marowak might have been the better pick here. Even Mantine to a degree, but then Thunder Punch exists, so yeah, I probably would have run with Alola Marowak myself, but we all play differently, and Gear was a little bit ill, and so we can't say that would have been a better choice, because we don't know how this would have played out. Still would have been weak. Still would have been weak to the Pangoro, sadly, but would have been at least immune to Boom Burst, and would have threatened the Megagross if it didn't have Earthquake. So, we don't know. But yeah, we can sort of move on there. Again, it was kind of fairly quick, fairly efficient again. Just trying to wear things down to the point, and then where things like Pound or X-Valve didn't have switch-ins. And they didn't. But yeah, there was a crit drain punch which very much turned the tide.
Yeah, most definitely, I would say.
And then
for that,
it basically became a case of, how do I stop this? I can't really.
How do I derail this train that's just barreling through my team?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that basically means we can move on from one Seattle team to another.
The Seattle Sea Kings, coached by our very generous overlord, Jodor, versus Pixar Pikachu's, coached by NUMNexus.
This was a 2-0.
Hi, Jodor.
I did notice when I was doing the science list, there was 4 2-0s and 3 3-0s. Which is remarkable. Like every single, and they're all for the home side as well.
I would just like to say this was hacks.jpg.
Was this the hacks.jpg? I think there was a haxier.jpg later on. But still,
when it's a Togekiss that turn 1 flinches with an air slash.
Yes. Early game was very much hacks. Well. Early game was very much a game of skill.
Skill.
With Togekiss flinching, the disguised Zoroark. I can't even remember what disguised as, but he didn't care. At that point, Nexus did when he found out that it was a Scarp Togekiss that was going to just flinch his team to death. He had to get a safe switch in from Zoroark, so he just let that thing die turn 2. Zoroark went down immediately, and then it flinched the Mesprit, which was then cancelled out about 2 turns later by full power. So, that kind of, the first flinch against the Mesprit was cancelled out by the full power 2 turns later. So that hacks you can sort of cancel itself out with, because Mesprit would have been at the same amount of health if it hadn't flinched. And
one thing that I would like to say really quickly, remember that this is Gen 7. If there are event mons that are required through Pokebank, make sure you are aware with them, because Nexus did admit to himself that he did not remember that Flash Fire was a thing on Typhlosion.
Oh yeah, that was the hidden ability via box, I think it was.
Yeah, it was the Pokebank event.
Bank,
so
that's it, yeah.
You just got to make sure you're kept up to date with that. That's all.
I love Typhlosion. But
shush you.
Fun fact: Typhlosion is my best all-time undefeated mon. I have 7 kills with it and no deaths. I've yet to die with Typhlosion, and Typhlosion is one of my favourite mons of all time as well. It's like number 1 or 2.
Okay. So yeah,
moving on.
Missing all the time. We're not talking about.
Nexus.
We're not talking about Typhlosion. But
sorry, you're not John. Nexus sacks Mesprit to Drapion. Nexus sacks the Mesprit to Drapion, fearing pursuit. I would assume.
No, he realized that he did his job.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was fearing pursuit, but then the Drapion used knockoff anyway, so I wasn't sure if the fact that Drapion used knockoff there maybe lulled Nexus into a false sense of security that the Drapion didn't have pursuit. Because later on, that came in clutch. The fact that it did actually have pursuit as well, but he didn't use it against the Mesprit. Tricking the Life Orb off Nidoking didn't really do anything in the end, but it did sort of secure the fact that Nidoking wasn't a Scarf Nidoking, and therefore could not outspeed Mons later on.
And also the fact that it did lower damage output.
Even though it did lower damage output, but as far as I remember, Nidoking actually never attacked after that point. So it didn't really matter taking the Life Orb off, but it did allow a little bit of recon at the very least, which was useful and kind of gave a bit of security for things that would have been faster than Nidoking to come in on Nidoking later on. Things like Landorus, perhaps.
My only, again, another comment really quickly. If you do knock off a mon and it does not reveal an item, don't assume that it doesn't have an item, because of the fact that if it's a regular mon, it could potentially be a Z-move user, especially since with this league, you don't have anyone can be a Z-move user. Yeah. So just automatically assume that Nexus. All I'm saying.
Yeah. The 10% burn. Oh yeah, 10% burn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now Jodor says the 10% burn mattered. Now
yes,
that only matters if he doesn't have poison jab. Because poison jab would have 2-hit KO'd Tangrowth from that range, regardless.
The thing is, though, Tangrowth went for Earthquake, which Nexus said at that range definitely would have killed the Gravion.
Yes, Earthquake would have been a 2-hit KO from that range. Earthquake would have been a 2-hit KO. Jodor says it was a 2-hit KO. Jodor says it would have been 2-hit KO from that range. It was a 3-hit KO with the burn. The burn didn't matter because if you just clicked Poison Jab twice, it would have died anyway. Also, Poison Jab, I calced it. Poison Jab plus Pursuit would have killed it anyway. So there was no reason to Fire Fang at that point, really. Poison Jab would have been the play. I don't really know why he Fire Fanged if he had Poison Jab, but I don't think we ever saw the 4th move on Drapion, so it might not have been Poison Jab. I don't know why, when there's a Tapu Lele on the field, why you would not bring Poison Stab on Drapion. But got away with it. If he didn't. Tangrowth out of the way. Yeah, with Tangrowth out of the way, Jodor activates the ending strategy. Lando deals with the Entei and the Metagross. I see the reason for what was it? What had the Earthquake? Metagross. Metagross clicks Earthquake on Tapu Lele. This seems like a crazy thing to do. Nidoking was in the back. He actually switched the Nidoking in here. That died. But his reasoning here was that 2 Earthquakes were enough for Tapu Lele, and Tapu Lele couldn't do enough to Metagross to 2-shot it. Because he was AV. So therefore 2 Shadow Balls would not have killed. That was his reasoning there, that Earthquake, and then he would have died to Nidoking because Nidoking would have been faster. And then he could have cleaned up the Nidoking with Zygarde 10%, which was still in the back. But as it happened, he switched in Nidoking, that died, Tapu Lele then died to the Steel move. That got the 2-0. If he hadn't switched in the Nidoking, probably would have been a 1-0. But doesn't really make a difference. Just saying though,
it's a hell of a game when Zygarde 10% is 0-0 and Tapu Lele doesn't almost do nothing, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, one final note: the Drapion was called, I believe, Patty Pitch in honor of St. Patrick's Day. Now, this is it. This is why I'm calling out Jim, because this is Potato Jim's biggest bugbear as an actual Irish person. No. It is Paddy's Day with D's, not T's. This is where I was shouting out for Jim. I've just remembered where it was. It is St. Paddy's Day. Any Irish person will punch you for that, basically. So, on behalf of Jim, Paddy, not Patty.
Moving on. Okay, so we are going to go into the Free State Torracats versus the Maryland Torterrapins, which...
Personally, this was my game of the week. For me, this is up there with the Pun match. I very much enjoyed this match.
This was an amazing game. This was a very, very skilled game. This was a very high-class game of 2 people who know the game well.
Yeah, it was 2 very things, and I think the only thing that set it apart was the slight wobble in the middle, potentially for Kelly. I don't know his thought processes for keeping Jellicent in. Basically, it came in and then never left the field until it died. But all that time, the Jellicent was in. It was just basically giving momentum to Duncan. I'm not sure what he was doing there, but other than that, I can't really see much fault in much of the play.
Nope, neither can I. My only comment, I would say, is that Kelly did EV to Megazord X to, at +1, be able to outspeed an Alakazam that was EV to outspeed whatever his team was. Not a max speed Alakazam, which Duncan has a history of just running max.
Yeah, Duncan brought max Alakazam, which completely ruined the actual tactical speed investment.
Yes, so with that being said, if I'm not giving any faults to Kelly because I love Kelly to death and he's one of my good friends. My only thing is that if you knew your opponent this week had a history of just doing a max type of thing, I saw your EVs for your Megazord X. I love that you run it bulky, but just literally changing 16 EVs moving it from your defense. Yes, your sub wouldn't have been able to live, like you said, an offensive mux, poison jab, but just moving those 16 EVs from your defense to your speed would have ensured you to outspeed a timid Alakazam. That's again my only stick with that. It was just a minimum of 16 EVs of moving from defense to speed, and even though you were less bulky on the defensive side, you saw that it was a non physically offensive muck and yada 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 things and such. By 16 EVs, your Megazord X was outsped.
Yeah, and I do that sometimes as well. I outspeed max speed things just in case, frankly.
Because you never know what your opponent's going to run. You never know what craziness they're going to be able to do. So me as a personal coach, I'd rather play it safe than say I'm going to assume that he's going to do this, so I'm going to plan for this. Sometimes, but if he does, so I'm just saying, if it could have been different if he was a player that, if you knew for a fact he was a player that did penny pinch his speed tiers, by all means do that, because now you know you've secured yourself that speed that you can outspeed. But knowing that Duncan just runs max all the time,
well, most of the time, yeah, but
most of the time, sorry, yeah. So
the other thing is, with the sub broken, Scarf Garchomp would have killed. Therefore, that's, because Zam did break the sub, but then Garchomp would have killed anyway. After that, so the sweep was not on there, sadly. But at least you see, Duncan wasn't sure the speed tier of a Lowland Persian, but he said himself that he should have checked that beforehand. Good on you for admitting that.
Always good to see coaches being proactive.
Yeah, I wrote here, a nice back and forth opening, no misplays as such as good pivoting one way and then the other.
No, this was a very, like I said, very well played game from two people who know the format.
I put Zard sub was the good play at that point, and then Duncan dealt with that correctly as well. So that was, I have noticed this a couple of times, that when a mon sets up or sets up a sub or whatever it is, it sets up in one way or another. There's not been a lot of rational thinking on how to deal with that threat necessarily. Like, you keep saying like they're bringing the wrong thing in first. I know we've said it a few times so far in these recaps that maybe something else would have been the better first thing to switch in. Duncan dealt with it correctly here, which I was pleased to see. Duncan apologised for calking at one point. No, we want to see you calking. That's a good thing.
That means you're being very aware that the game is happening, that you need to be prepped and always be ready. So we don't mind that whatsoever. Yeah. We encourage that. Yeah,
we'd rather you be correct rather than entertaining. At that point, one minor thing is Pursuit does still hurt a slower baton pass.
Yes,
I believe.
I found that out the hard way, and also affects U-turns and both switches.
Yes, he stated that he didn't go for Pursuit because he feared the slower baton pass. It does still hit the slower baton pass harder, so properly. So just note for future. I don't know if that was just a brain fart or just genuine belief, but yeah, hits the slower baton pass. What was it? Oh, the Alolan Persian versus Garchomp. I saw that HBI's coming, to be honest, because Alolan Persian, I do believe, still gets Technician.
Oh, yes, he does. That is why he runs Bite.
Yeah, Technician. I kind of saw that HBI's coming. Duncan didn't. Whatever. That was basically, I think that was only Duncan's minor misplay, not scouting for the HBI's. But in the scope of things, you're not really thinking of that at the time, I guess. The low roll Fire Blast versus Skarmory, that was amusing.
Yes, that was a low roll.
Well, I believe it should have killed at that point from the range it was at.
Actually, no. I think Kelly mentioned that this Fire Blast does not kill me, no matter what.
Righto. In that case, well, at the very least, that was the point that the Scarf Chomp was revealed, I believe.
Yes, that was definitely the point.
Yeah, Kelly. I put Kelly was being weirdly predictable in the mid game, especially with the Jellicent. But yeah, and then I actually I've put a note here saying I got kind of absorbed by the battle in the middle here. I forgot to write any notes. I got drawn in by this battle,
Chief.
and I forgot to write things
Chief.
down. I remember the Xatu plays were brilliant, frankly. I think this is the best I've ever seen Xatu be used, especially in League. Switching in, every time Kelly wanted to do something that would have been magic bounced, Duncan brought Xatu in and magic bounced on those exact turns.
All the Xatu.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant done. Like he could have done Stealth Rock at any moment, but the one moment he does click Stealth Rock, he switches in Xatu. The one moment he does switch Will-O-Wisp, he switches in Xatu.
The one time he wants to get a status, Xatu.
Xatu is there, just lurking in the background.
But no, this was again.
It was so fun.
Keep on saying this was a great game to watch. If you have not done so already, please do watch this game.
Yeah, and then eventually, once Skarm is gone, Garchomp has free reign with Earthquake because nothing switching in. Frankly, Mashana took 2. I think Mashana took 2, and that's why he switched it in.
Yep.
He sacked off Persian and then switched in the Mashana because that could take 2. Katana attempted to be sacked to set up the Chomp sweep. Mashana recovers on that point. It's like, okay, well, never mind. And then I believe Kelly just obviously did not see that Z move coming at all, which then put Mashana in range of the Garchomp. That wasn't what the Z move was there for, by the way. The Z move was the Z move was there for Whimsicott. Because because Whimsicott could prankster Encore Katana into a grass move, for instance, or the fighting move, for instance. Z moves ignore Encore. That's what it was for.
Nice, actually, I did not know that.
That was what the thinking was before. So therefore, you could Z move, Steel move the Whimsicott, thinking it was safe. It wouldn't be. That was what it's for. But in the end, it worked out in clutch here against the Mashana, bringing it back down into range after Mashana recovered. Brought it down into range. Mashana then picked off the Katana with Psychic, and that kind of sealed the game, sadly, for Kelly, because then Garchomp comes in and just goes Earthquake, 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 everything's dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3-0 basically.
I have nothing to say except this was.
It was a very sort of 1-0 game, but because of the way that ended up, it went Earthquake. It was a 3-0. So very good game. Do check out from both sides, really.
This is a game that you want to see both sides from.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed watching Duncan's side of things. I haven't watched Duncan so far. I very much enjoyed Duncan's side of things on that, because that's the first time I've actually seen his side of things. Then we move on to...
You've watched a side of Duncan before.
No, I've always been on the other side, because Duncan's only played twice so far. I've always been on the other side, because I watched Dan's side week 1 and I watched Brady's side week 2. His week 3 match has been rescheduled. That is one thing to mention. He is only 1-1. He did.
Good to hear.
That we weren't sure of a forfeit or a reschedule in week 3. Well, I wasn't anyway, because it was just me. It's been rescheduled for some point in the season. Now, speaking of Duncan's opponents, week 1 was Dan. Dan is next. Minnesota Vikavols versus the Los Angeles Landers. That was a 2-0 for Dan, getting back into winning ways. It was a crucial win for Dan's team and for Dan's morale, really. Because Dan's not really a guy to slide as such. But going 1-3 wouldn't have really put him in the best mindset. Bringing that back to 2-2 definitely gives him a bit of momentum for next week at the very least.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And I believe this is probably one of my favourite transfers ever. Bringing in Gudra, one of the best transfers I've ever seen. MINvLAL wasn't really doing anything for Dan at this point. Gudra really, really complements his team and really matched up very well against this week. So, excellent pick up there, Dan. Using many leagues worth of experience to his advantage there, knowing what to pick up.
My only thing, I only watched half of this battle because, again, family emergencies, but I just want to get my points out of the way. I definitely agree with Dan, like what you said, with putting in Gudra, because you saw how its multiple abilities worked in this situation, especially to counteract the Spore from Amoonguss, free switching every time he wanted to click Spore. good way that Jerry found out that Crocodile was scarf was because Igron was able to set up the rock polish, and the only way Crocodile was able to outspeed that thing was because of the scarf. Again, little known fact, bottom screen helps a lot with details because Jerry did admit that he completely forgot about stealth rocks.
Right.
Which is why when the Moltres came in, he was like, "Oh, why did it take 50%? Oh, stealth rock." So I guess being more proactive about hazards on the field and statuses and stuff like that goes a long way. But I'm pretty sure either the overhead prompts or this bottom screen below does tell you if there are hazards in the field.
Yep. So we mentioned that briefly week 2 with Brady, but I think Brady forgot stealth rocks in week 2. So yeah, do check your bottom screen. It tells you everything. Everything.
Yep, especially since the Moltres was the Z move user this week. So you gotta make sure that your hard hitting mons are always kept tip top shape. Yeah.
This has been a public service announcement from WATvIOW.
Yes.
Keep your best mons tip top.
But that's all
that was incredibly British of you. I think I'm rubbing off on you.
No. I just miss London. I miss England. I want to go back so bad.
Tip top. Anyway,
that is all I have to say. So by all means, take it away. I
believe. I don't know how early on this was. It might even been turn 1. I thought setting up rocks on the opponent's rapid spinner was an interesting move. Dan with Necrozma on the Starmie. Yeah, set up rocks against the Starmie, which was interesting because you could have just immediately spinned them already the next turn. Really surprised that Jerry didn't really bring that much for Goodra, knowing he just picked it up. Coco was the only thing, and that's D-Gleam, and that's a very fat, especially defensive mon in Goodra anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be able to take 2 D-Gleams anyway.
Curious, what set was the Goodra if you do know?
I didn't watch the team build, I'm afraid.
Dang it, okay.
But I found it amusing that Fire Blast had 33% accuracy.
Say again, I'm sorry, you cut out right there for me?
Oh yeah, Fire Blast, use 3 Fire Blast, hit 1.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But seriously, what is Dan's luck with these 85% accurate moves? Because he missed 2 Sea Flares last week, I believe.
Dan pissed off some Aztec god in his past life.
It's literally just the 85% accurate moves as well.
Exactly.
The Sea Flares, the Fire Blasts.
He definitely pissed off some Aztec god from his past that there's coming to haunt him now with these moves. This was what it was. Bringing only 1 ground immunity or resist was a massive problem for Jerry. That being, Moltres. I think this is the one that triggered the comment earlier on. I think I watched this than the one I mentioned earlier on. Bringing limited resisted ground moves, especially when Crocodile being one of the top tier ground types in the format. Yes.
Mid game, especially being a known Scarfer as well, Crocodile with Moxie, potentially.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Bring only 1 resisted ground or immunity. Sketchy.
Questionable at most.
Yeah. Mid-game, the mid-game was just getting Dan trying to get things into EQ range, basically. Because once that Moltres is gone, Crocodile clicks Earthquake and sweeps.
I'm seeing that right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the team builder, at the teams, yeah.
Yeah, Starmie just need to be low enough. Basically, Starmie just need to get a little bit lower, and then it was fine. Cobalion just needed a little bit of chip damage, and then Crocodile could sweep from there. That's what Dan was doing in that mid game, and he managed to get it there, I think, in the end. I'm not sure. No, he didn't actually get the sweep with Crocodile in the end, which was a little bit annoying, but I think he managed to finish things off with Infernape. But there's not really a lot to talk about. Just very smart plays by Dan. Thankfully, not pulling the strangely risky plays that had us on edge earlier in the season.
Yeah, those were some times, man.
But yeah, just played it safe, played it smart, got things into position. Infernape swept at the end, basically. Got the 2 kills at the end, I believe, and then that was that. So. Don't really have much to say about that one. It was a very smartly played match. It wasn't really a lot wrong from Jerry's side of things. You can see why why he got 2 very good wins earlier on in the season. Maybe clicking Spore whilst Goodra was still around was a bit naive. Other than that,
Yeah, that's
also
the only
Shaman
big
existed
thing.
at that point as well. Shaman could have switched in. Shaman wouldn't have liked to switch in on Amogus because of poison, but Shaman could have taken the spore.
Yeah, but also the fact that Shaman is like it gets psychic, it gets coverage, it gets coverage for things and such, so it can provide us free switching and then threaten things out if it was low enough, especially for Mungus with Seed Flare and things. True. Yeah, honestly, again, well played out, well, like you said, strategically played. But we are going to go to our final match of the game actually for this week.
Yes, because
it is Munchlaxer United, coached by King Bub, one of our newcomers. Welcome. Bub, versus the Orlando Magikarps. Yes. And it was a 2-0 win for Mr. Bub.
Yes, despite the situations.
I can only imagine because, again, this is one of the matches I could not watch. So you do get a reprieve from me this week from shit fucking you. You get a reprieve. I cannot say anything against you. I just see on my screen right now COLvADE gets 4 kills. Yeah. Which is superb. Good job. Holy hell.
Yeah, Avalon got 1 and I can't remember what the last one they might have been Celebi. But yeah. It was not looking like it was going to be a very welcome for King Bub for a long while there. There was early pressure up with Snorlax. Snorlax managed to get up a curse or 2.
Okay.
Managed to threaten that out eventually. I can't remember. Oh yeah, he managed to do fair amount of damage with that with Mega Pinsir, sack that off in the process. Sad to see Mega Pinsir go so early, but managed to get Snorlax. Basically,
who needs a bug when you have concrete?
Yeah,
man.
He sacked off the Mega Pinsir to get off enough damage on Snorlax to the point where COLvADE then threatened it out. Interesting. Hax keeps the pressure on Specs' side here because Gardevoir would just not stop Moonblast Spatak dropping.
You mentioned that to me.
Its Spatak dropped on the Meloetta, which meant that the Gardevoir then survived a Shadow Ball.
Oh.
I believe, and then its Spatak dropped and a crit on the Stunfisk, which then kept it out of range of Thunderbolt.
That is actually disappointing.
Yeah.
I would have loved a Stunfisk kill, but we have an Avalon kill, which is even better.
Then there was also a Scald Burn on Celebi, I believe it was. Yes. Yeah, Mega Slowbro Skull Burn is Celebi on the switching. Of course it did, but this is Skull Burn. But at this point, a little bit annoying.
Yeah,
then a little bit
because Celebi doesn't abuse usually of the attack. It goes for a special attack. So
it did have the ability to obviously remove that. It doesn't.
Natural cure.
Natural cure. Yeah, so it had the ability to remove that, of course. But a little bit of switching around later on. It was Celebi switched into Slowbro and Crit Burn.
Again, twice?
Yeah, got crit and then burned.
Oh my gosh!
God damn! So yeah, he tried his hardest to keep that damn thing alive, but it wasn't helping. But he did keep it alive. There was also a paralysis at some point. I can't remember what it was. There was no full powers, which was interesting. But
okay.
He got paralyzed, but no full powers. And then I've just got, and then there's a conk.
I just want to ask: was there a freeze?
No.
There was no freeze. Mandibles was freezeless.
What I'd like to see is Avalok switched in, managed to get rid of the rocks, which was crucial for keeping the other two things alive and itself, because he was having to switch quite a lot between Celebi, COLvADE, and Avalok, because he sacked off the Mega Pinsir and Stunfisk and Meloetta basically just died to hacks. So he only had those 3 left, so it was 6v3 for a very long while. Well, for a very short while, because Gardevoir got picked off and then it was 5v3 for a very long while, basically. Kept switching those 3 in, trying to get into the position where you could take at least one of them out. Dragonite, I think, was the one that died to died to Avalok in the end.
Okay.
That got taken down. Celebi, I think Celebi is the one that took out the Gardevoir in the end. Avalok took out the Dragonite because it's an Avalok versus a Dragonite. Managed to get into that position. And then COLvADE managed to get the things into a position where COLvADE could take out the Snorlax, could take out the Mega I think he took out the Mega Slowbro in the end. Oh no, COLvADE, that was it. Cog Mac punched the Gardevoir. That's how that died. Celebi took out the Mega Slowbro with Leaf Storm. from full.
Wow.
Literally just one shot that thing. It was. I think it was the one turn he predicted. I think it was the one turn that Specs. This is where I would have liked your side of things, but sadly not. It's the one turn that Mega Slowbro maybe predicted the Stellar Beat to switch again. It didn't. It Leaf Stormed. It destroyed it.
I'm going to watch this battle. I'm going to let you know. I'm definitely going to let you know what happened.
And then Aerodactyl was already in range of Mad Punch at that point. Mandibuzz was taken down by Thunder Punch, I believe it was.
Okay.
And Snorlax was in range of Drain Punch. What was quite amusing is the Drain Punch basically just kept Conkeldurr at enough health. Because the Drain Punch on Snorlax just enough health to make it survive. Then obviously Life Orb brought it down a little bit more, just enough to survive a foul play. Drain Punch the Mandibuzz again. I think he Drain Punched something. I think he Drain Punched the Mandibuzz at first. That got it at just enough health, and then Life Orb brought it back down to exactly the amount of health they had in the first place, basically. Just keeping it out of range of dying to its own Life Orb, basically.
That's good. That is strategic.
Yeah, obviously with the Thunder Punch, that wasn't affected by Life Orb because of Sheer Force. But yeah, fun to watch. And very, very rough introduction to the NPA for Bob there. But he managed to grind it out, much like his Premier League pun friend Luster City's first match of the season. Hacks to hell, but still came out with a win. So
and that is we're expecting big things from you, Bub. Better keep on going with that, man.
And that rounds things off, I believe.
Yes, it does.
In terms of kill leaders at this point, Keldeo gets himself on the board with 6 kills there, of course.
Followed by Conkeldurr, I believe.
Con gets 4, that puts himself on the board. In terms of things that were already on the board, I believe Tyranitar picked up a couple more. Mega Scissor picked up another one.
Garchomp got 4 kills as well.
Garchomp would be on the. I think Garchomp was already on the board, so that might be somewhere near the top now as well. So yeah, those are the things to be looking out for at this point in time.
Also shout out to Tapu Fini getting 3 kills as well. Just saying.
Yeah, I believe Tyranitar might be top at this point. Tyranitar and Garchomp are probably top at this point. Mega Scissor there or thereabouts. They would be more than this. And then Keldeo might even just be top 5 right now, straight away. With those 6 kills.
Honestly.
I'm not sure if Keldeo's picked up kills in the past 3 weeks or not. If it has, it might be on 7 or 8. But maybe there or thereabouts. So yeah.
But yeah.
That's about that.
Yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, please do leave a like and a comment down below, criticizing us, criticizing the coaches. Coaches, if you're watching this, please do also leave comments if we have made any mistakes of our explanations. Correct us by all means, and check out the NPA playlist, which is down below, linking you to all of this week's battles if you are going to do so and if you've watched us before watching them. Which, if you have done so, we are deeply honored. But yeah, anything you want to say, Chi, to round things off?
Nope, not really. I did have a quick look. Tapu Lele has 9 kills. I think that's still in the lead. But unless this hasn't been updated, so Tapu Lele's up there as well. Other than that,
okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, other than that,
all right,
no.
Guys, so in that case, we will catch you all next week for week 5.
Yes.
You didn't have to correct me in there. I got it, man. I got it. But yeah. And all else, guys, have a great week, and we will catch you all.
Toodles.
Toodles.